Have you ever felt that strange shiver down your spine? That moment of clarity when you realize that everything you thought you knew about money might be completely wrong? That feeling that somewhere there's a secret door to financial abundance that nobody bothered to show you? Most people spend their entire lives believing that wealth is a game of chance, a lucky lottery ticket, being born into the right family, or stumbling into the perfect opportunity. But what if I told you that this is precisely what the financially powerful want you to believe? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You work tirelessly, follow all the conventional financial advice, save a portion of your paycheck, invest conservatively, cut back on expenses, yet somehow true financial freedom remains frustratingly out of reach. Meanwhile, you watch others seemingly effortlessly build empires around them. The uncomfortable truth is that wealth creation isn't random. It isn't luck. It follows precise principles, a hidden science that has been deliberately kept from mainstream knowledge. Throughout history, the world's most successful individuals have understood and applied these principles, often while publicly attributing their success to hard work alone. Stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm about to pull back the curtain on financial transformation in a way few dare to discuss openly. The information I'm sharing isn't taught in schools or conventional financial planning sessions. It's knowledge that fundamentally shifts how you understand and interact with money. The science of wealth operates regardless of economic conditions, your background, or even your current financial situation. It follows immutable laws, like gravity, that work whether you understand them or not. The difference is that when you understand these laws, you can use them to your advantage rather than having them work against you. What you're about to discover might surprise you, challenge beliefs you've held your entire life, and possibly even make you uncomfortable. That's perfectly normal. Transformative knowledge often feels that way initially. Think about it. Why do certain families maintain wealth for generations while others struggle paycheck to paycheck despite working just as hard? Why do some people seem to attract financial opportunities effortlessly while others chase them endlessly without results? The answer lies deeper than conventional financial strategies. It extends into realms that mainstream financial advisors rarely discuss. The psychology of money, energy principles of wealth attraction, and systems that create compounding prosperity. As we continue this journey together, I'll reveal how these hidden principles create a blueprint for financial transformation that anyone can follow. The wealthy elite might prefer these truths remain obscured, but understanding the science of wealth creation is your birthright. And this is just the beginning. In the next few minutes, we'll explore the first fundamental principle that separates those who merely work for money from those who make money work relentlessly for them. Join our community of conscious creators. By subscribing today, we explore transformative concepts like these that can shift your perspective and empower your journey. Hit subscribe to ensure you never miss these insights that could change everything. Wealth isn't about competition. It's harmony with universal laws like gravity. Your mindset shapes your financial destiny more than your current situation. This revelation transformed my approach to personal finance entirely. I stopped seeing money as something to chase and started understanding it as energy that flows according to predictable patterns. Think about it. We don't question gravity. When you drop something, you know with certainty it will fall. What if wealth creation operates on similarly reliable principles that most people simply haven't recognized? The wealthy aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They've just internalized these invisible rules that govern financial abundance. Behind every fortune lies a profound understanding of value creation. Money is merely a certificate that you've added something meaningful to someone else's life. The market rewards solutions, not problems. This mental shift creates a journey toward abundance rather than a desperate grab for limited resources. I've witnessed this transformation repeatedly in my own life and others. A client once came to me deeply in debt, making barely enough to cover essentials. What changed wasn't her immediate circumstances, but her perception. She stopped asking, "How can I get more money?" and started asking, "How can I create more value?" Within 18 months, her income had tripled. The hidden truth most financial advisors won't tell you is that your subconscious beliefs about money create your financial reality long before you make a single investment. If deep down you believe money is scarce, dirty, or the root of evil, you'll subtly sabotage your own prosperity. Your brain is remarkably efficient at finding evidence to support your core beliefs. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these universal principles manifest in practical, everyday decisions. The revelation that changed everything for me came when I realized wealth isn't created through frantic activity, but through aligned action. Most people work incredibly hard, but in directions that fundamental economic laws don't reward. Think about the difference between pushing against a locked door versus finding the key. The effort might be similar, but the results are dramatically different. Financial breakthroughs happen not when you work harder, but when you work in harmony with principles that govern value exchange. Another misconception is that wealth requires sacrifice. In reality, sustainable prosperity comes from the overlap between your talents, your passions, and market demand. When these three circles intersect, you discover your unique impact zone where wealth generation becomes almost effortless. What's fascinating is how these principles transcend cultures and economic systems. I've studied wealth creation in developing economies and Fortune 500 companies alike. The external circumstances differ dramatically, but the fundamental mindset patterns remain consistent. This isn't coincidence. It's evidence of underlying laws that govern prosperity regardless of your starting point. Your relationship with uncertainty also dramatically shapes your financial destiny. The wealthy don't have less fear. They've simply mastered their relationship with the unknown. They've trained themselves to see opportunity where others see only risk. This subtle shift in perception changes everything about how you approach financial decisions and the opportunities life presents. If you're nodding along to these ideas and they're resonating with something deep inside you, write "The laws are working for me" in the comments. Now, let's explore how these principles translate into practical strategies you can implement immediately. Wealth begins when you change your mindset, breaking traditional beliefs. The power of your mind can create tangible wealth from invisible thoughts. This transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual awakening to possibilities that were always there, hidden beneath layers of limiting beliefs we've accumulated throughout our lives. Think about it. Every wealthy person you admire started with an idea, a thought pattern that differed from the masses. While most people are conditioned to think, "I need to work harder to make more money," the truly prosperous understand that wealth creation begins with mental architecture, not just labor intensity. When I realized this hidden truth, my relationship with money fundamentally shifted. I stopped seeing money as something scarce that I had to chase and began recognizing it as an energy that naturally flows toward value creation. This perspective isn't just philosophical, it manifests in practical decisions that compound over time. Consider how many of us were raised with contradictory messages about wealth. Money doesn't grow on trees, alongside "follow your dreams" and "success will come." These inconsistent narratives create internal conflicts that sabotage our financial journey before it even begins. The revelation here isn't that you need to hustle more. It's that you need to align your subconscious programming with your conscious desires. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how your identity forms the foundation of wealth creation. When you say, "I'm not good with money," or "investing isn't for someone like me," you're not just making an observation, you're reinforcing a self-limiting identity. The mindset transformation begins when you become aware of these internal narratives and deliberately reconstruct them. What's fascinating about this process is that your brain can't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and reality. Neuroscience reveals that visualization activates the same neural pathways as actual experience. This means you can literally rewire your brain's relationship with wealth through consistent mental rehearsal of new beliefs and behaviors. This isn't magical thinking. It's strategic mental conditioning that influences your perception, decision-making, and ultimately your financial outcomes. I've witnessed this impact firsthand with hundreds of people who've applied these principles. One woman, a teacher who always believed she was just not meant to be wealthy, began systematically challenging that assumption. Within 3 years, she had built a 6-figure educational consulting business while maintaining her teaching position. The catalyst wasn't some revolutionary business strategy. It was her decision to question and replace the identity that had limited her financial ceiling. The journey toward wealth creation is punctuated by moments of discomfort as you outgrow familiar thought patterns. Your social circle might question your new perspectives. Your own mind will resist change, preferring the comfort of established beliefs even if they keep you financially stagnant. This resistance isn't evidence that you're on the wrong path. It's confirmation that you're growing beyond your previous limitations. What's particularly powerful about mindset work is that it influences every financial action you take. When you believe prosperity is your natural state, you make different decisions about saving, investing, and opportunity. Evaluation. You develop an intuitive sense for value that guides your choices toward wealth-building actions rather than merely wealth-preserving ones. If you're resonating with what I'm sharing, write in the comments. My mindset creates my wealth reality. This will help me understand who's ready for the deeper insights I'm about to share. The difference between those who achieve lasting wealth and those who struggle financially often comes down to a profound understanding of creation through mindfulness. What I've discovered in my journey is that successful people don't just think differently, they've mastered the art of controlling their mental landscape with remarkable precision. When we repeatedly engage in conversations about our financial struggles, we're unconsciously programming our minds to accept and maintain that reality. It's like carving a path through a dense forest. Each time you walk the same route, it becomes more defined and easier to follow. Your brain develops neural pathways that automatically guide your thoughts along familiar routes. This is why breaking free from financial limitation often requires a complete rewiring of your thought patterns. I remember meeting a woman who had grown up in poverty but managed to build significant wealth. When I asked about her transformation, she revealed something fascinating. I stopped participating in broke talk. Even when I had nothing, I refused to speak the language of lack. This wasn't about denial. It was about consciously redirecting her mental energy toward possibilities rather than limitations. What's happening behind the scenes is that your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between what's real and what's vividly imagined. Every time you declare, "I can't afford that," or "money is so tight," your mind accepts these statements as commands to maintain your current financial reality. Your words become the invisible architects of your financial future. The revelation that changed everything for me was understanding that wealthy people aren't just lucky or privileged. They've developed a fundamentally different relationship with the concept of creation. They see money as energy that responds to their dominant thoughts and emotions. While most people react to circumstances, the financially free are proactive creators who shape circumstances through deliberate mental focus. This mindset shift represents a profound journey from victim to creator. Instead of being at the mercy of economic conditions, job markets, or inheritance, you recognize your inherent power to generate abundance through thought mastery. This doesn't mean ignoring financial realities. Rather, it means approaching them with a creator's mindset rather than a consumer's desperation. The hidden truth most people never grasp is that financial transformation begins with linguistic transformation. Notice how wealthy individuals speak about money. Rarely do they complain about prices or express worry about affording necessities. Instead, they discuss investments, opportunities, and value creation. This isn't coincidental. It's a deliberate practice that maintains their abundance mindset. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring the specific mental exercises that accelerate financial manifestation. What I've found is that visualization alone isn't enough. You need to engage all your senses to create an immersive internal experience of already having achieved your financial goals. This multisensory approach creates powerful emotional resonance that dramatically accelerates your manifestation results. If what I'm sharing resonates with your experience of money consciousness, write "mindset activated" in the comments below. The fascinating connection between our thoughts and financial reality goes far beyond simple positive thinking. When you hold a vision of success and wealth in your mind, you're not just daydreaming. You're programming your internal guidance system to recognize opportunities aligned with that vision. Think about how a successful entrepreneur doesn't just stumble upon the right opportunities. They've trained their perception to notice what others miss. This mental transformation works like a sophisticated filtering system. Our brains process millions of bits of information every second, but we consciously register only a tiny fraction. When you consistently visualize financial abundance, your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that determines what deserves your attention, begins highlighting pathways and possibilities that correspond with your financial goals. If you found value in these ideas about conscious creation, please hit the like button. Your simple click helps others discover these conversations too, and that's how our collective understanding grows stronger. The journey toward wealth creation reveals a hidden truth. Your current financial situation often reflects beliefs formed years ago. These deep-seated convictions about money, what you deserve, what's possible, and how wealth functions, create the invisible architecture of your financial life. Someone who unconsciously believes money is the root of all evil or rich people are greedy carries these limiting perspectives into every financial decision, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy that keeps abundance at arm's length. I've witnessed this remarkable pattern repeatedly with clients who made seemingly small shifts in their money mindset only to experience profound changes in their financial landscape. One particular case involved a woman who had struggled financially for decades, despite working incredibly hard. During our work together, she uncovered a childhood memory of hearing her father say, "People like us don't get rich." This single belief had been silently directing her financial decisions for 30 years. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how persistent negative viewpoints create unconscious self-sabotage. When you hold limiting beliefs about wealth, you don't just think differently, you literally behave differently. You might procrastinate on investment opportunities, underprice your services, or avoid financial education altogether. These actions stem not from laziness or lack of knowledge, but from an underlying belief system that's working to maintain what feels familiar, even if that familiarity means financial struggle. The impact of these mental patterns extends beyond individual finances into relationships, career trajectories, and even physical health. Financial stress created by limiting beliefs triggers cortisol release, affecting decision-making abilities and creating a downward spiral that reinforces negative money perspectives. Breaking this cycle requires bringing these unconscious patterns into awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Creating a wealthy mindset involves reprogramming your relationship with uncertainty. The mind craves certainty, which is why many people stick with familiar financial patterns even when they're not working. Wealthy individuals, however, have developed a higher tolerance for uncertainty and calculated risk, something anyone can cultivate through consistent practice and awareness. This mindset revolution isn't about ignoring financial realities or responsibilities. Rather, it's about approaching them with an expanded set of possibilities and perspectives. Every financial decision becomes an opportunity to ask, what would someone who feels deserving of abundance do in this situation? This single question can reveal how often we make choices from a position of scarcity rather than possibility. What's particularly revealing is how your current financial situation provides clues about your deepest beliefs. Are you consistently earning just enough to get by? Do unexpected expenses always seem to arrive just when you've saved some money? These patterns aren't coincidences. They're manifestations of your financial programming working exactly as designed. If you're nodding along with what I'm saying, type "mindset shapes my wealth" in the comments. I'd love to know this resonated with you. The wealthy understand that real financial growth isn't about trading time for money. It's about putting money to work in systems that generate returns while they sleep. This fundamental shift in perspective represents one of the most profound transformations in the journey to wealth creation. When you examine the habits of truly affluent individuals, you'll notice they rarely chase after the next paycheck. Instead, they're building assets, investing in opportunities, and creating revenue streams that function independently of their daily efforts. This abundance mindset operates on a completely different frequency than the scarcity mentality many of us were raised with. Where scarcity sees limited resources and competition, abundance recognizes infinite possibilities and collaboration. The wealthy don't see money as something to be hoarded, but as a resource to be directed and multiplied through strategic deployment. What's particularly fascinating is how deeply your financial reality mirrors your internal landscape. Your bank account is essentially a physical manifestation of your consciousness around money. The beliefs you hold, often formed during childhood or through early experiences, create powerful patterns that either attract or repel financial opportunities. These aren't just feel-good platitudes, they're the operating instructions your subconscious mind follows when making thousands of micro-decisions about money each day. I've witnessed this revelation unfold countless times with clients who discover their relationship with money isn't merely practical, but deeply psychological. One woman I worked with kept hitting the same income ceiling year after year, despite changing jobs and increasing her skills. During our work together, she uncovered a deeply held belief that making too much money would make others resent me. This hidden programming, installed by well-meaning parents, had been silently sabotaging her financial growth for decades. The journey toward wealth requires excavating these limiting beliefs and replacing them with empowering alternatives. This internal work often proves more valuable than any investment strategy or business plan. When you shift your consciousness around money, external opportunities begin to align with your new perspective. doors open that previously remained invisible. What's often overlooked in conversations about wealth is the courage required to examine your money story. Many people find it easier to blame external circumstances, the economy, their employer, or bad luck, than to confront their own relationship with abundance. Yet this willingness to look inward represents the crucial first step toward lasting financial transformation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how the wealthy actually operationalize these mindset differences. Because while understanding the concept intellectually matters, implementing practical systems that allow your money to work harder than you do makes all the difference. These systems aren't magical or available exclusively to the elite. They're strategic approaches anyone can adopt with the right knowledge and discipline. The hidden truth here is that most wealthy individuals aren't necessarily smarter or more talented than others. They simply make fundamentally different decisions about how to allocate their resources, attention, and energy. They prioritize financial education, surround themselves with prosperity-minded individuals, and consistently invest in assets rather than liabilities. The impact of these cumulative choices compounds dramatically over time. If you've recognized some of your own limiting beliefs about money while reading this, drop "breaking free" in the comments below. This acknowledgement can serve as a powerful first step in rewriting your financial story. Thinking big isn't just about setting ambitious goals, it's about expanding your entire perception of what's possible. When you commit to this expanded vision, something almost magical happens in your reality. I've witnessed this pattern repeatedly in both my life and the journeys of countless successful individuals I've studied. The commitment itself becomes a powerful catalyst for transformation. Consider what happens when you fully dedicate yourself to a larger vision. Your brain's reticular activating system, that remarkable filter that determines what information reaches your conscious awareness, begins working overtime to identify opportunities that support your new direction. Opportunities that were always present but previously invisible suddenly appear in plain sight. This is where the magnetic quality of thoughts becomes evident. Your consistent thought patterns create a vibrational frequency that naturally attracts corresponding experiences, people, and circumstances. It's not mystical. It's a practical mechanism of how our minds interact with our environment. The hidden truth many miss is that resources rarely appear before commitment. Most wait for perfect conditions before taking action, creating a perpetual holding pattern. The breakthrough moment comes when you realize that bold commitments precede resources, not the other way around. This sequencing is crucial to understand if you want to accelerate your journey toward meaningful achievement. I remember a period when I hesitated to pursue a significant project because I believed I lacked the necessary connections and financial backing. The mindset shift came when I stopped viewing these limitations as barriers and instead saw them as problems to solve after committing. Within weeks of making that internal shift, I encountered 3 individuals who provided exactly the support I needed, support that had been potentially available all along, waiting for the right vibrational match. This principle extends beyond individual achievement. Organizations that operate from abundance rather than scarcity consistently outperform their competitors. Their decisions stem from possibility rather than limitation, creating a culture that naturally attracts innovative solutions and exceptional talent. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining what happens in your neurology when you consistently think bigger. Your neural pathways physically reorganize to support your new perspective. This isn't metaphorical, it's literal rewiring, backed by neuroscience research on neuroplasticity. Each time you choose an expansive thought over a limiting one, you strengthen these new pathways, making the bigger perspective increasingly your default setting. The impact of this rewiring extends far beyond your conscious awareness. Your subconscious mind, which drives approximately 95% of your decisions, begins operating from this expanded framework. Even when you're not actively focusing on your goals, this subconscious alignment continues working behind the scenes, guiding your intuition and spontaneous choices toward your larger vision. This explains why people who consistently think bigger often report lucky breaks or being in the right place at the right time. Their entire being, conscious and subconscious, is aligned with their aspirations, creating a powerful navigational system that guides them toward relevant opportunities. What's particularly fascinating is how this alignment affects your energy and presence. Others can sense this congruence, often without consciously realizing it. This explains the magnetic quality that visionary thinkers seem to possess. People are naturally drawn to individuals whose internal beliefs and external actions are in harmony. If you're resonating with these revelations about the power of expanded thinking, type bigger vision in the comments. Now, let's explore how you can practically apply these insights to overcome the specific mental blocks that may be limiting your thinking. Desire intensity is crucial in transforming thoughts into tangible results. All material things were once mere thoughts in someone's imagination. This realization is the hidden foundation of the path to manifestation, a journey that begins in the mind before materializing in our physical reality. Think about the device you're watching this video on right now. Before it existed, it was merely a concept, an idea floating in someone's mind. The intensity of that desire to create, to solve a problem, to bring something new into the world, that's what propelled that thought into the physical object you now hold or see. This same principle applies to everything in your manifestation practice. Napoleon Hill, in his timeless work, emphasized that desire isn't just a casual wish, it's a burning obsession that refuses to be denied. When your desire reaches this fever pitch, your subconscious mind begins to work tirelessly toward its fulfillment, even when you're not consciously thinking about it. This is the transformation point where many people miss the mark. Let me share something that changed my perspective entirely. Years ago, I treated manifestation like a hobby, something I'd think about occasionally, visualize when convenient, and approach with lukewarm enthusiasm. The results? Equally lukewarm. It wasn't until I became almost obsessed with a particular outcome, where I thought about it constantly, felt the emotions of already having it, and took inspired action regularly, that I experienced a breakthrough. The universe doesn't respond to fleeting wishes. It responds to the magnetic force of unwavering desire. This isn't about desperation that actually creates resistance. Rather, it's about cultivating such clarity and passion that you can almost taste your desire as if it were already yours. Here's where the revelation happens for many. Desire intensity isn't something you're born with or without. It's something you cultivate deliberately, like tending to a garden. You nurture it with attention, feed it with visualization, strengthen it with affirmations, and protect it from the weeds of doubt and negativity. One powerful practice I've found is what I call desire immersion. For 10 minutes each day, completely immerse yourself in the feeling of already having achieved your desire. Feel the textures, hear the sounds, see the colors, and experience the emotions that come with it. This consistent practice intensifies your desire in a way that casual thinking simply cannot match. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how desire intensity works with the principles of quantum physics. Modern science is increasingly confirming what ancient wisdom has taught for millennia, that our consciousness has a measurable impact on physical reality. When your desire is intense enough, you literally begin to resonate at a different frequency, attracting circumstances, people, and opportunities aligned with your vision. Remember that manifestation isn't just about thinking differently. It's about becoming a different person altogether. The person who has already achieved what you desire thinks differently, feels differently, and makes different choices than the person who merely wishes for something better. Desire intensity is the bridge between these two versions of yourself. Have you noticed how some people seem to effortlessly attract their desires while others struggle for years with little progress? The difference often lies not in their methods, but in the intensity of their commitment to the outcome. Half-hearted desires produce half-hearted results. This is why clarifying exactly what you want and why you want it is so fundamental to the process. If you're resonating with these insights, write "intensity activated" in the comments below. I'm curious to know how many of you understand this critical distinction between wishing and truly desiring. Every single morning, I wake up with a sense of overwhelming gratitude for the opportunities ahead of me. This simple practice has literally transformed my financial reality in ways I never imagined possible. It's not just about feeling good. Gratitude fundamentally alters the frequency at which we operate in the universe. Think about it this way. Have you ever noticed how people who constantly complain about money struggles seem to attract more financial problems? Meanwhile, those who express genuine appreciation for what they have, even when it's not much, often find unexpected resources flowing their way. This isn't coincidental. It's the magnetic power of thought patterns in action. What fascinated me during my journey of financial transformation was discovering that wealthy individuals almost universally practice gratitude with remarkable consistency. They don't wait to feel thankful after receiving abundance. They feel abundant first through gratitude, which then multiplies their material wealth. The hidden truth about this practice is that gratitude doesn't just change your emotional state, it literally rewires your perception filters. When you're genuinely grateful, you become hyper-aware of opportunities that were always present but previously invisible to you. These revelations can lead to connections, ideas, and pathways to wealth that were there all along. I remember speaking with a successful entrepreneur who told me something profound. I don't chase money anymore. I focus on being deeply grateful for the chance to create value, and the money naturally follows. His mindset shift from scarcity to abundance thinking completely altered his decision-making framework. This operates on a surprisingly scientific principle. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information, prioritizes what you consistently focus on. When gratitude becomes your default perspective, your brain automatically highlights abundance-related opportunities in your environment. The most striking aspect of this wealth principle is how it builds momentum over time. Small moments of appreciation compound like interest in a bank account. You begin noticing more things to be grateful for, which elevates your energetic frequency, attracting people and circumstances that match that elevated state. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how specific gratitude practices can be implemented strategically. Many people understand gratitude conceptually, but struggle to make it a consistent practice that actually influences their financial reality. When you examine the daily routines of wealth builders, you'll notice they don't just feel randomly thankful. They direct their gratitude towards specific aspects of their financial life. They appreciate the money they currently have, the skills that allow them to earn, and even the challenges that strengthen their wealth-building muscles. This directed gratitude creates a powerful intentionality that shapes decision-making. When you're truly grateful for your current resources, you make wiser choices about how to invest them. You stop acting from a place of desperation and start operating from abundance consciousness, which paradoxically attracts more abundance. The journey toward financial freedom isn't just about external strategies. It's fundamentally an inside job that begins with how you perceive your current reality. The wealthiest people I've studied maintain unwavering gratitude even during market downturns or business challenges. This emotional resilience becomes their competitive advantage. What's particularly remarkable is how this principle crosses cultural and socio-economic boundaries. I've witnessed it work for people starting with nothing but a grateful heart and determination to see opportunities where others see obstacles. If you're resonating with what I'm sharing, type "gratitude grows wealth" in the comments below. I'd love to know if this principle has already been working in your life, perhaps without you even realizing it. Every choice is a decision in creating your future. It's a profound concept when you really sit with it. Think about it. The coffee brand you choose, the route you take to work, even the tone of voice you use with your partner. These aren't just random actions. They're architectural decisions shaping your reality brick by brick. Desire truly does propel wealth, but not in the shallow way most understand it. It's not just about wanting money, it's about having that bone-deep hunger that makes you see opportunities where others see obstacles. I've witnessed this transformation in people who shifted from merely hoping for financial freedom to embodying the energy of abundance in every action they take. The alignment between desire, faith, and persistence creates something magical. It's like a three-strand cord that becomes exponentially stronger than its individual parts. When you fiercely want something, genuinely believe it's possible for you specifically, and then back that up with consistent action, that's when the universe seems to conspire in your favor. I remember working with someone who spent years dreaming about starting their own business. The desire was there, but they lacked the faith component. They believed success was possible for special people, but not for them. We worked on this mindset barrier for months until one day, something clicked. They started taking daily actions from a place of certainty rather than wishful thinking. Within a year, their side hustle had replaced their corporate salary. This journey toward wealth creation isn't just financial, it's a profound inner revolution. The hidden truth most don't realize is that becoming wealthy requires you to become a different person. Your current identity, with all its comfortable limitations and familiar excuses, must transform. This explains why lottery winners often lose everything. They received money without evolving their identity to match it. What's fascinating about this principle is how it applies universally, beyond just money. Relationships, health, spiritual growth, they all respond to this same formula. The alignment of passionate desire, unshakable faith, and relentless persistence creates a powerful, energetic signature that attracts corresponding circumstances. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this principle creates tangible results in your daily reality. Most people approach their goals from a place of lack, focusing on what they don't have and why things are difficult. This creates a frustrating cycle where you're perpetually chasing but never quite catching what you want. The revelation comes when you understand that persistence isn't just about trying hard, it's about maintaining emotional consistency. Your thoughts fluctuate throughout the day, but your underlying feeling state is what broadcasts your true intentions to the world. When you can maintain a feeling of already having what you desire, even while acknowledging the current reality, you create a powerful magnetic force. Think about the most successful people you know or admire. Notice how they carry themselves with a quiet certainty. This isn't arrogance, it's alignment. They've internalized their vision so completely that their actions flow naturally toward it. This is where many miss the mark. They try to force external actions without first aligning their internal state. The transformation happens in those private moments when no one is watching. It's in how you talk to yourself when you face rejection. It's in whether you make that one extra call after hours. It's in how quickly you bounce back from disappointment. These moments reveal whether your faith is superficial or soul deep. What I find most beautiful about this journey is how it reveals character. The pursuit of wealth, when approached with integrity, doesn't make you more greedy. It makes you more disciplined, more resilient, more strategic, and ultimately more capable of contribution. True wealth isn't just about accumulation, it's about creating value that improves lives. If you're resonating with these ideas, drop "Alignment is my path" in the comments. I'd love to know who's connecting with this deeper understanding of wealth creation. The truth is, willpower isn't just some abstract concept. It's the invisible force guiding every meaningful achievement in your life. Think about it. Whether you're facing financial hardship, physical limitations, or emotional trauma, your inner resolve remains the one constant you can control. This realization was my personal revelation during a particularly challenging chapter of my life when everything external seemed to be crumbling. What fascinates me about this journey of personal transformation is how our minds create elaborate prisons without us even realizing it. These mental constructs are built brick by brick, thought by thought, often starting in childhood. I'm not smart enough. People like me don't succeed. I always fail when it matters. These aren't just passing thoughts. They become the architecture of our limitations. The hidden truth that changed everything for me was understanding that these mental barriers don't actually exist in reality. They're projections, powerful ones certainly, but ultimately fabrications that can be dismantled with the same mind that created them. This realization doesn't make the work easy, but it makes it possible, and that distinction makes all the difference. I've witnessed this mindset revolution with countless people who appeared trapped by circumstance. Take Maria, for example, who grew up in poverty and was told education wasn't for people like her. The mental prison was so convincing that for years she never questioned it. But once she recognized these thoughts as constructs rather than truths, her willpower found direction. Today, she's completing her second master's degree while mentoring others from similar backgrounds. What's particularly remarkable about willpower is its compounding effect. Small decisions, made consistently, create momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. This is where most people give up, in that gap between starting something new and seeing tangible results. The successful few push through this, void of validation, sustained only by their internal conviction. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining the neurological basis for these mental limitations. Research in neuroplasticity reveals something extraordinary. Your brain physically reconstructs itself based on your thoughts and beliefs. The neural pathways that form your sense of capacity and possibility are not fixed. They're malleable, constantly being reinforced or weakened by your moment-to-moment choices. This biological reality explains why breaking free from limiting beliefs feels so difficult at first. You're not just changing a thought, you're rewiring physical structures in your brain that have been strengthened over years or decades. The initial resistance you feel isn't evidence that change is impossible. It's simply the growing pains of creating new neural architecture. What truly separates those who transform their lives from those who remain stuck isn't talent, intelligence, or luck. It's simply persistence through this uncomfortable rewiring process. The revelations come when you push beyond what feels possible, creating new mental pathways that eventually become your default way of thinking. The journey toward dismantling these mental prisons involves recognizing thoughts as tools rather than truths. When you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," try replacing it with, "I haven't learned how to do this yet." This subtle shift maintains factual accuracy while preserving the possibility of growth. It's not positive thinking, it's accurate thinking that acknowledges your current reality without defining your future capacity. If any of this resonates with your own experience, write "breaking free" in the comments. I'd love to know who else is on this journey of mental liberation and how it's unfolding for you. When we talk about flowing with life, we're really describing a profound shift in perspective that can transform our daily experience. Think about those moments when you've fought against circumstances, the tension in your shoulders, the mental fatigue, the emotional drain. Now contrast that with times when you've simply allowed life to unfold, when you've loosened your grip and trusted the process. There's a lightness there, isn't there? This isn't just philosophical talk, it's practical wisdom. The universe operates on principles that often exceed our limited understanding. When we cling too tightly to how we think things should happen, we actually create resistance patterns that block the very outcomes we desire. It's like swimming against the current when we could simply adjust our direction and let the flow carry us forward. But here's the revelation that changes everything. Releasing control doesn't mean surrendering your power, quite the opposite. It means recognizing where your true power lies, in your conscious choices, not in your attempts to micromanage every detail of your journey. The most successful people I've encountered understand this paradox intimately. They set clear intentions, take decisive action, then release their attachment to exactly how things unfold. Consider the hidden truth behind most breakthroughs in life. They rarely come through forced effort alone. Instead, they arrive in those moments of openness when we've created space for inspiration and opportunity to find us. Think about your own pivotal moments. How many came exactly as you planned versus how many arrived unexpectedly after you'd done the groundwork and remained receptive? Your life outcomes are indeed reflections of your conscious choices, but those choices include deciding how you'll relate to uncertainty and change. Will you resist them or dance with them? Will you demand certainty or embrace the adventure? The quality of your journey depends largely on these fundamental decisions. I've witnessed remarkable transformations in people who shifted from control-seeking to flow-embracing. Their stress levels drop, their relationships improve, creative solutions emerge more readily, even their physical health often benefits. It's as if everything in life was waiting for them to stop pushing so hard and start moving in harmony with a larger rhythm. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this balanced approach to life, this dance between conscious choice and surrender, actually reshapes your brain patterns over time. The neuroscience behind this mindset shift reveals why some people seem to magnetize opportunities, while others repeatedly encounter the same obstacles. If you're resonating with what I'm sharing here, drop "flowing forward" in the comments. I'd love to know who else is exploring this powerful way of navigating life. Our internal compass truly guides our perception of abundance. The journey to material success isn't linear. It's an intricate dance between our internal beliefs and external actions. When we understand that abundance flows from within, everything changes. It's like unlocking a hidden door that's been there all along. Let's consider something profound. Every wealthy person experienced their wealth internally before it manifested externally. Think about that for a moment. Before the bank accounts filled up, before the opportunities multiplied, there was an internal shift, a recognition of personal value that preceded everything else. This revelation transforms how we approach our goals. Rather than chasing external validation, those who achieve lasting abundance first cultivate a mindset that accepts their worthiness. The internal landscape becomes fertile ground where prosperity can take root. It's a subtle but powerful transformation that happens behind the scenes of every success story. I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how this internal abundance manifests in daily decisions. When you recognize your inherent value, you naturally make choices that align with that understanding. You negotiate differently. You present your ideas with conviction. You recognize opportunities that previously seemed invisible. Consider the entrepreneur who appears to have overnight success. Behind that visible achievement lies years of internal work, facing fears, overcoming limiting beliefs, and developing resilience. The journey wasn't just about business strategy. It was about becoming someone who could hold the weight of success without being crushed by it. This internal to external pathway explains why two people with identical resources often experience dramatically different outcomes. One perceives abundance everywhere, creating opportunities from seemingly nothing. The other remains trapped in scarcity thinking, missing possibilities that stand right before them. The mindset shift required isn't simply positive thinking, it's a fundamental recalibration of how you value yourself and interact with the world. It's understanding that your internal resources, creativity, determination, wisdom, adaptability, are the true currency of success. When you recognize these gifts within yourself, you approach challenges differently. You see setbacks as temporary rather than defining. You recognize your capacity to create value in any circumstance. This internal revolution quietly impacts every aspect of life. Relationships improve because you no longer approach them from a place of need, but from wholeness. Career opportunities expand because you recognize your ability to contribute meaningfully. Financial possibilities multiply because you make decisions from abundance rather than fear. The journey becomes self-reinforcing. Each time you honor your internal resources, you strengthen your connection to abundance. Each time you create value from within, you prove to yourself that true wealth isn't dependent on external circumstances. This creates a powerful momentum that carries you forward, even through challenging times. What's particularly fascinating about this pathway is how it reshapes your relationship with material success. Money and opportunities become expressions of your internal abundance, rather than its source. This subtle reframing prevents the common trap where people achieve financial goals but still feel empty. They've focused exclusively on external markers while neglecting their internal landscape. If you're nodding along as you listen to this, write "abundance starts within" in the comments below. I'm curious to know how many of you have already experienced this internal shift and recognized its power in your life. Reframing beliefs can truly transform the external landscape to match your inner reality. It's a fascinating journey that begins with acknowledging that your current perception is just one interpretation of countless possibilities. When you shift your perspective, seemingly fixed circumstances begin to bend and reshape around your new understanding. Consider what happens when you walk into a room full of strangers. If you believe nobody will like me, you'll likely stand awkwardly in a corner, avoid eye contact, and create the very rejection you feared. But if you reframe your belief to, "I might meet someone interesting here," your body language opens up, your facial expressions become inviting, and suddenly opportunities for connection materialize. This internal shift creates ripple effects that most people completely miss. It's not magical thinking. It's about recognizing how our beliefs directly influence our behaviors, which then shape our experiences. The transformation begins invisibly in those quiet moments of decision when you choose a different thought pattern. I've witnessed remarkable examples of this principle in action. A client of mine spent years believing she lacked the confidence to speak publicly. Her career stalled as she avoided opportunities that required presentation skills. When we worked on reframing her belief from "I'm too nervous to speak well" to "my nervousness is just excitement about sharing valuable insights," everything changed. Within months, she was not only volunteering for presentations, but receiving compliments on her engaging style. The key insight here is that all meaningful change begins with desire. That initial spark when you decide, this matters to me, but desire alone is insufficient. What truly separates those who transform their reality from those who merely wish for change is an unwavering commitment to fulfilling that desire. When obstacles arise, and they inevitably will, committed individuals don't interpret them as signs to quit, but as invitations to grow. This commitment functions like a compass during stormy weather. When visibility is poor and conditions are challenging, it keeps you oriented toward your true north. Without it, you're likely to abandon ship at the first sign of rough seas. With it, you discover reservoirs of resilience you never knew you possessed. Now, I want to go even deeper into this concept of commitment. There's a profound difference between interest and commitment that often goes unrecognized. When you're merely interested in changing your beliefs, you do what's convenient. When you're committed, you do whatever it takes, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it requires sacrificing old identities that no longer serve you. The journey of reframing beliefs isn't always smooth. You'll encounter resistance from your own mind, which has grown accustomed to existing patterns. You might also face pushback from people in your life who have become used to your old way of being. These challenges aren't roadblocks, they're the very terrain of transformation, revealing where your commitment needs strengthening. What's particularly revealing is how this process mirrors other journeys of growth in completely different domains. Athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, all speak of similar thresholds where desire meets determination, where vision confronts reality. The universal pattern suggests something fundamental about human potential and the hidden mechanics of achievement. If any of this resonates with your personal experience of transformation, write in the comments, "I'm reframing my reality." I'd love to hear which specific belief you're currently working to shift in your own life. The art of perseverance is truly fascinating when we examine it at a deeper level. It's not just about stubbornly pushing forward. It's about developing a relationship with resistance itself. Think about the last time you faced a seemingly insurmountable obstacle. What made you continue despite every logical reason to quit? That space, that internal conversation, is where the magic of true perseverance lives. When we talk about manifestation, we're really discussing a profound psychological transformation. Your thoughts literally become the architects of your reality, but not in the simplistic way many people understand it. It's not just positive thinking, it's disciplined thought patterning that gradually reshapes your perception and consequently your actions. I've witnessed this remarkable journey with countless individuals who initially dismissed visualization as mere fantasy. One client of mine spent months visualizing her ideal career transition with such clarity that she began unconsciously making micro-decisions that aligned with that vision. She wasn't consciously aware of this realignment until she found herself naturally pursuing opportunities that 6 months earlier she would have immediately dismissed as not for someone like me. This reveals the hidden truth about manifestation. It works primarily by recalibrating your sense of what's possible. When you consistently visualize a specific outcome, you're essentially reprogramming your brain's reticular activating system, the filter that determines what information reaches your conscious awareness out of the millions of data points your senses constantly process. The most fascinating revelation about this process is that it operates largely beyond our conscious awareness. Your mind begins detecting opportunities that were always there but previously filtered out because they didn't align with your self-concept. This is why persistence in visualization isn't just helpful, it's absolutely essential. You're essentially overriding deeply ingrained neural pathways. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how perseverance and manifestation intersect with our identity. This Relationship creates a powerful feedback loop that either accelerates or hinders our progress toward meaningful goals. When we persist through challenges, we're not just working toward external achievements, we're simultaneously reshaping our internal narrative about who we are and what we're capable of. The real transformation happens in this identity shift. Most people focus exclusively on the external goal, missing the profound internal journey that ultimately determines their success. Each small act of perseverance becomes evidence that challenges your limiting beliefs about yourself. This evidence gradually accumulates until your brain has no choice but to update its operating system, your self-concept. What's particularly interesting about this process is how it creates momentum. Early victories, no matter how small, provide the psychological fuel for larger challenges. This compounds over time, creating what psychologists call self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to accomplish specific tasks. The higher your self-efficacy in a particular domain, the more likely you are to persist when facing obstacles. This explains why some people seem naturally resilient while others give up quickly. It's not an inherent personality trait. It's a cultivated relationship with challenge itself, built through a series of small victories that gradually rewire your response to difficulty. The journey of manifestation is ultimately about becoming the kind of person who naturally attracts your desired outcomes because they align with your evolved identity. If you can relate to this transformation process in your own life, write "identity shift" in the comments. I'd love to know how many of you have experienced this powerful mechanism firsthand. Think of your mind as a garden where dreams take root. Wealthy individuals don't just casually wish for success. They cultivate vivid mental images of their desires with unwavering focus. When John D. Rockefeller was still working as a bookkeeper, he would write in his journal, "My future plans are being arranged. My path is clear." Even before his wealth manifested, his vision was already crystallizing in his consciousness. This mental clarity creates a powerful blueprint for reality. Your thoughts shape your perception, which guides your actions, which ultimately determines your results. It's a profound cycle of manifestation that the wealthy have mastered. They don't simply hope for abundance, they expect it with certainty, and this expectation becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But there's a deeper truth beneath this process that rarely gets discussed. The real transformation begins when you recognize the invisible agreements you've made with yourself. These internal contracts, often formed during childhood or through painful experiences, silently govern your relationship with money and success. For instance, if you grew up hearing "money is the root of all evil" or "rich people are greedy," you likely formed unconscious agreements that wealth is somehow immoral. These beliefs become the hidden architecture of your financial reality. The wealthy haven't necessarily acquired more knowledge than others. They've simply negotiated different internal agreements about what's possible for them. Consider Warren Buffett's mindset. While others see market downturns as disasters, his internal agreement says, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." This perspective doesn't just influence his investment strategy, it reveals his fundamental relationship with wealth and opportunity. Your journey toward prosperity begins by examining these silent agreements. What have you unconsciously decided about money? About your capabilities, about what you deserve? The limitations you perceive aren't external barriers, but reflections of these internal contracts. Now, I want to go even deeper into this revelation. When you rewrite these agreements, you're not just changing thoughts, you're recoding your entire reality matrix. Most people struggle financially, not because of economic conditions, but because they're honoring agreements they don't even remember making. They've pledged allegiance to limitation without realizing it. The wealthy understand that freedom comes from conscious choice, not circumstance. They recognize that their relationship with money is ultimately a relationship with themselves. The barriers between you and abundance aren't in your bank account, but in your belief system. This perspective shift creates a profound ripple effect that transforms not just your finances, but your entire approach to life. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You develop resilience where others cultivate excuses. Your decisions stem from possibility rather than fear. The wealthiest individuals in history share this common thread. They don't view themselves as victims of economic forces, but as architects of their financial destinies. This ownership mentality becomes the foundation upon which all other wealth principles build. If you're nodding along as you hear this, type, "I'm rewriting my agreements," in the comments below. Acknowledging this truth is the first step toward transforming your financial reality. The intuition I'm talking about isn't just some mystical concept. It's a practical intelligence that has evolved within us over thousands of years. Think about those moments when you've had a gut feeling about something and ignored it, only to regret it later. That quiet voice isn't random. It's your subconscious processing information beyond what your conscious mind can articulate. What fascinates me is how this internal guidance system operates in successful people. Steve Jobs famously talked about following his intuition even when it led him down paths that seemed illogical at the time. He didn't have all the dots connected in advance. He trusted the process and moved forward with conviction. That's the transformation that happens when you start honoring that inner wisdom. But here's the revelation that changed everything for my journey. Intuition strengthens with use. Like any muscle, the more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. When you begin acknowledging those subtle nudges and acting on them, you create a feedback loop that heightens your sensitivity to this internal compass. The hidden truth is that most people have dulled this sense by repeatedly ignoring it in favor of purely logical decisions. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how this connects to emotional mastery. You see, your emotions are messengers, providing valuable data about your environment and experiences. When you learn to interpret rather than suppress them, you gain access to another dimension of intelligence. This isn't about being ruled by feelings, quite the opposite. It's about understanding the information they provide while maintaining your center. The impact of this emotional awareness is profound. Consider how many decisions in business, relationships, and personal development are derailed not by lack of knowledge, but by unaddressed emotional patterns. The person who can remain clear-headed during conflict, who can process disappointment without being defined by it, who can celebrate success without becoming attached to it, that person has discovered a form of power that transcends circumstance. I discovered this principle during a particularly challenging business negotiation years ago. The stakes were high, and I found myself feeling intimidated by the more experienced parties across the table. Instead of pushing that feeling away, I acknowledged it, understood what it was telling me about my preparation, and adjusted my approach. That moment of honest self-awareness completely shifted the dynamic of the conversation. What's fascinating about this journey of self-mastery is that it's both intensely personal and universally applicable. The specific emotions you need to navigate will be unique to your situation, but the principles of awareness and conscious response remain consistent. This isn't about achieving some perfect state where you never feel negative emotions. That's not even desirable. The richness of human experience comes precisely from feeling deeply while choosing your response deliberately. When you develop this capacity to be present with your emotions without being controlled by them, you experience a profound sense of freedom. Situations that would have previously triggered automatic reactions become opportunities for conscious choice. People who would have easily pushed your buttons no longer have that power. You become the author of your experience rather than a character reacting to a script written by others. If you're connecting with these ideas about intuition and emotional intelligence as pathways to personal power, write in the comments, "I'm reclaiming my inner authority." I'd love to know how many of you are already on this journey of self-discovery. Isn't it fascinating how our relationship with choice shapes our entire experience of life? When we truly own our decisions, fully embodying that autonomy, we access a rare form of liberation. It's not just about having options, it's about understanding the deeper framework of how we decide. I've noticed in my own journey that the moments when I feel most alive are rarely connected to having unlimited choices. Instead, they come when I make deliberate selections aligned with my core values. This revelation transformed how I approach daily decisions, from the seemingly trivial to the life-altering. Consider the hidden paradox we rarely discuss. Societies with the most abundant choices often report higher rates of dissatisfaction and decision fatigue. The endless desire path creates a peculiar type of suffering, one where having everything somehow leaves us feeling like we have nothing of substance. In contrast, wisdom traditions across civilizations have consistently pointed to something counterintuitive. Contentment often emerges from thoughtful limitation rather than boundless expansion. This isn't about restriction in the oppressive sense, but rather about the freedom that comes through deliberate curation of our lives. What ultimately separates those who find genuine fulfillment from those caught in cycles of wanting isn't resources or opportunity. It's their relationship with enough. The concept of enough represents perhaps the most revolutionary mindset shift possible in our consumption-oriented world. When we examine the lives of those we genuinely admire, not celebrities or influencers, but people of substance and character, we typically find individuals who excel at making purposeful choices. They've mastered the art of saying no to the inconsequential so they can say yes to what truly matters. The transformation begins when we recognize that each choice carries not just immediate consequences but ripple effects that shape our identity. Every decision, whether conscious or unconscious, writes another line in the story of who we're becoming. This perspective elevates ordinary choices to extraordinary significance. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how our information environment influences our sense of agency. In a world where algorithms increasingly curate our reality, maintaining genuine autonomy requires new forms of awareness. The battleground for human freedom has shifted from physical constraints to cognitive ones. Think about the last time you made a decision that went against the grain of what was expected or recommended to you. That moment likely required more energy and intention than simply following the path of least resistance. This reveals something crucial about the nature of choice in the modern context. If you're nodding along with these ideas, type "conscious choice" in the comments. I'm curious how many of you are actively exploring this territory in your own lives. The power of imagination truly extends far beyond what most people realize in their daily lives. When we imagine new possibilities, we're not just daydreaming, we're creating neural pathways that begin to recognize opportunities we might otherwise miss. Think about it. Everything in our human-made world existed first as a thought, an image in someone's mind, before it became reality. Your life works the same way. What's fascinating is how our imagination can actually overcome the programming of our past. Many of us carry invisible boundaries in our minds, limitations installed during childhood or through difficult experiences that whisper, "This isn't possible for someone like you." But imagination bypasses these mental gatekeepers. When you vividly picture yourself already having achieved something, your subconscious mind begins accepting it as a potential reality rather than a fantasy. This transformation process isn't instantaneous, but it's remarkably effective when practiced consistently. The most successful people I've studied all share this common trait. They see their desired future with such clarity that it feels inevitable to them. They're not hoping, they're expecting, and this expectation shapes their actions in subtle but profound ways. Now, regarding gratitude, there's a hidden mechanism at work here that goes beyond just feeling good. When you practice perpetual gratitude, you're actually retraining your reticular activating system, the part of your brain that filters information and determines what you notice in your environment. Most people's filters are set to detect problems, threats, and what's missing. It's how we're wired for survival. But gratitude flips this script. It recalibrates your awareness to recognize abundance, opportunity, and positive patterns. You literally begin to see different aspects of reality that were always there, but previously filtered out of your conscious awareness. This isn't some mystical process. It's neurological rewiring happening in real time. What's particularly powerful is gratitude's effect on the subconscious mind's acceptance levels. Your subconscious has a set point for how much success, love, or abundance it believes you deserve. Try to exceed that set point without raising it first, and you'll unconsciously sabotage your progress. Gratitude gradually raises that set point by demonstrating to your subconscious that you can appreciate and properly steward what you already have. I discovered this principle during a particularly challenging period in my life, when everything seemed to be falling apart. Instead of focusing on what I was losing, I forced myself to identify 5 things each morning I was genuinely grateful for. Within weeks, I noticed opportunities appearing that I would have completely missed in my previous mindset. My external circumstances hadn't changed yet, but my perception had shifted dramatically. This journey toward conscious creation requires both elements working in tandem. Imagination opens the door to new possibilities, while gratitude creates the fertile ground where those possibilities can take root. It's like preparing soil before planting seeds. Both steps are essential for growth. The revelation that most miss is that this process works regardless of your starting point. Whether you're struggling financially or already successful, whether your relationships are thriving or challenging, these principles operate as universal laws rather than situational tactics. They're the operating system behind reality creation rather than just another self-help technique. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these principles manifest differently across various aspects of life, and why some people experience dramatic results while others see minimal change despite applying the same concepts. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own experiences or intuitions, write "conscious creator" in the comments. I'd love to know who's actively working with these principles. Sure, I'll pick up the narrative about free will and determination. Free will and determination aren't just philosophical concepts. They're the fundamental tools that shape our reality. When we truly grasp that we can redirect our life's course at any moment, something profound begins to happen within us. It's like discovering you've been holding the master key all along. This inner transformation is where the real magic happens. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how, when you make a deep internal shift, everything around you seems to respond? There's a ripple effect that extends far beyond your thoughts. Your relationships evolve, opportunities materialize that weren't there before, and obstacles that once seemed insurmountable suddenly reveal pathways through them. This isn't mystical thinking. It's the hidden architecture of personal evolution. Our internal landscape creates the blueprint that our external reality eventually conforms to. When you change your beliefs about what's possible for you, your actions naturally align with this new vision, creating results that previously seemed out of reach. I've witnessed this countless times in my own journey, moments where a simple decision to think differently, to approach an old problem with new eyes, completely transformed the outcome. The obstacle didn't change, but I did, and that made all the difference. What's fascinating is how this process accelerates once you become conscious of it. When you deliberately cultivate determination alongside your free will, you create an unstoppable momentum. You're no longer swept along by circumstance. You become the architect of your experience. Consider this revelation. The quality of your life isn't determined by what happens to you, but by how you respond to what happens. This response mechanism is entirely within your control, regardless of your circumstances. Even in situations where options seem limited, you retain the freedom to choose your perspective, your attitude, and ultimately, your next step. The most powerful manifestations occur when we align our thoughts, emotions, and actions toward a single direction. This alignment creates a clarity that cuts through confusion and doubt, illuminating the path forward even when the destination remains beyond our current vision. I often think about how many of us live with an unconscious ceiling on what we believe is possible. We inherit limitations from our upbringing, absorb restrictive beliefs from society, and eventually mistake these artificial boundaries for the edges of reality itself. The breakthrough comes when we realize these perimeters exist only in our minds. The journey of transformation isn't always comfortable, though. There's a natural resistance that arises whenever we push beyond familiar territory. Our minds are wired to preserve the status quo, to keep us safe within known parameters. This is why determination becomes so crucial. It provides the sustained energy to move forward when comfort zones protest. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how this principle of internal transformation manifests differently across various areas of life. Because while the core mechanism remains constant, its expression takes unique forms, whether we're talking about career transitions, relationship dynamics, health improvements, or spiritual growth. If you're resonating with these ideas about inner transformation leading to outer change, write in the comments, "I create my reality." I'd love to know who's walking this path of conscious creation alongside me. And here's the thing about this journey of conscious creation. It's never really finished. Each breakthrough simply reveals the next horizon. Each realization opens the door to deeper understanding. That's what makes this path so incredibly rewarding. I hope these perspectives on free will and determination have sparked something meaningful for you today. Sometimes, the most powerful shifts happen when we simply recognize the agency we've had all along. If you found value in these ideas, consider subscribing to join our community of conscious creators. We dive into these transformative concepts regularly, always looking for that next-level understanding. If you made it all the way through this exploration with me, drop "I create my reality" in the you and comments. I'd love to connect with those who resonated with this message. A like on this video helps others discover these conversations too, which is how our collective understanding grows stronger. And if this topic sparked your interest, there's a video right here about how to overcome the hidden blocks to manifestation that pairs perfectly with what we've discussed. Click through and let's continue the journey there.